Welcome to Fishing Britain. This week we launch a brand new exciting competition where we challenge anglers to test their skills. Find out our first victim later on in the programme. ROV TV shows us the Carp's reaction in early spring to a big bed of bait. But first I'm off to Bishop's Bowl Fishery to catch up with Richard Chapman.
Right, watch this.
We're at Bishop's Bowl Fishery today and the carp are up on the surface, and this young man just can't resist the temptation, and we only just managed to get a quick look at his tackle.
Right, so the gear we've got, we've scaled it right down. We're only using a 9-foot spinning rod, about 10 to 30 gram casting weight, and a simple floater setup on there. Or we've got a little trimmed down pop-up, just down to the same size as a dog biscuit, but obviously it doesn't break down in the water as quick. Little hook, about size 10 that is, down to some 10-pound mono. Little control float, just with a couple of little float stops on there, down to the main line. Dead simple, that's all you need. So hopefully we'll try and catch one. Right, so you can probably hear, we've already got them feeding behind us. So all we're going to do, flip one, just past them, draw it back over the heads, and hopefully we'll get a bite straight away. He took it? Yep, there we go. That wasn't sage for the camera either. Just try and stop him getting in them reeds. Little scaly mirror. There we go. Wrapped himself around the line a bit. And that's him in the net. There we go. Lovely little fish. We'll get him straight back. Hopefully, we'll catch another one.
As usual, Hywel can't just stand by and not get involved, but he hasn't brought any tackle.
Right, let's have a look at your rig. What have you got set up?
Just over it.
Come on in. The problem is, right, that's all I've got is this fly rod. And this is my demo fly rod, right? Everybody looks at it, it's white. Do you know what I tell them, right? I tell them it's my fish finding rod because I go like that. Right, I'll find the fish. Anyway, right, so what's your rig?
Right, obviously float.
Yeah.
You're not going to be using that?
No, I'm not using that. Don't need that.
Probably what you're looking at.
Yeah, that's the business end.
Length of mono, about 8 pound.
Okay.
Down to the hook, just a little hair rig. Then you've got trim down, that's a little pop-up boilie.
Right.
Just trimmed down to the same sort of size as a dog biscuit.
Yeah.
So obviously, same size, same colour, but that lasts a lot longer. You're not having to change that every cast.
Right, well, I've got no flies in there. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll attach this on mine, and you're going to have to make another one up. Really, Richard, in game fishing, we've got gillies, so you're actually just been my gilly for a bit.
So am I getting paid?
No, you're not. No, don't be silly. He's now going to run away because he hasn't got a hook on. He's going to have to make another rig. So it gives me a few minutes to try and catch a carp. Oh, this casts well. Oh,
I missed it.
I don't think I should have struck. Look. He's doing it.
Oh, sometimes rigs under pressure.
I can't believe that. Oh, you watch now.
Oh.
Don't you dare.
Okay.
Oh, you
spooked.
spooked him. Oh, there's one.
That is where fly rods come in. Just drop it on the reds. He's out of it. He's away.
I was just letting you have a false sense of security, Rich, just to get you in the... people would say it'd been unfair if I'd have caught a fish while you were doing a new rig.
I suppose you want me to net him as well now.
Of course! Yeah! Hey, what does a gilly normally do? Tell you what, don't have to put a bend. I mean, this is a powerful rod, 8 weight. I can't give it any more stick. What breaking strain hook length?
I think about £8. So.
Okay. Oh!
Is that karma?
Just got my oh. I think I was a bit heavy on him. Yeah. That's when accuracy comes into play. On his nose. Oh. Whoa, he isn't walking up yet.
You can make the most of your little situation.
I can't do anything with it. Look at that. Flip. I mean, look, I've got that propped against my arm. I just cannot hold him.
Should have got a proper one.
Yeah. They actually, guys that fly fish for them, they say it's like the British bonefish. They just go and go and go. Look at that, powerful. Come on, get him in the net. Wait, stop splashing the net and scaring him out.
Get his head up.
I'm trying.
There we go.
Yes.
Well,
sorry, mate. Sorry I nicked you.
This fishing lark is easy. I wonder if I pop the camera down for a minute. Forgetting, of course, that Richard is camera savvy and manages to get a rare glimpse of the one that does all the work, taking advantage of this feeding frenzy. I'm fed up of beating them, so I thought I may as well join them.
Oh, that's a better one there.
See, he doesn't only just film, he fishes with us as well.
Love it.
And look at the state of the equipment. Zoom in on that. Look at the state of that.
That was a battle. What a scrap.
Carp fishing, told you, easy. I'm talking about easy. Here's David with the news. This is Fishing Britain News. Two members of Simply Red have resolved a dispute over sporting rights on their estate in Ireland. Mick Hucknall and fellow band member Chris DeMargery run fishing holidays at Glenmore Lodge in Donegal. A neighbour claimed the previous owners of Glenmore had transferred those rights to his father. However, the parties reached an agreement hours before a case had been due to begin at Letterkenny Circuit Court. We made this film of an Irish McNab at Glenmore last year. It's probably one of the biggest catch and release operations you've probably ever seen. A group of students fishing along South Florida's coast have posted heart-stopping footage of a mighty 14-foot hammerhead shark being reeled in to shore. In another Florida hammerhead video out this week, this one takes a kayaker on a 2-hour trip. Adam Fisk hooked the 11-footer, but the shark dragged him out to sea and towed him for 2 hours before he finally cut the line. He filmed parts of his adventure with a GoPro camera, and at 4 minutes 27 you can even see a shot of a second hammerhead who was following his kayak. A fisherman off the west coast of Canada got a shock when he reeled in a bald eagle. Randy Sadler was fishing using his invention, the kite tail flasher, when suddenly he felt one of the lines drag out to the back of the boat. He got the shock of his life when he saw an eagle sitting in the water looking at him. He was able to bring the eagle into the boat using a net and unwrap the fishing line. He then dried it and released it. And finally, here's an unusual style of fishing showcased on YouTube. Hexacopter Fishing shows a group of Americans taking their bait further than the usual cast. After much trial and error, they discovered they needed a single hook. You are now up to date with Fishing Britain News. Fishing for facts, landing the stories. Thank you, David. Still to come, we see Richard Chapman in action with ROV TV diving into the carp world. But now it's time to put a star on a reasonably priced seat box.
We have come up with a challenge to see which of our star anglers is the best all-rounder, and it goes a little something like this. At a distance of 10 metres from our reasonably priced seat box is a target, and in that target they will have to throw a high-tech simulated ball of ground bait into the bullseye. Then using a wobbly long pole they will have to cup one in too, and then they will have to cast a plug and finally chuck some fluff. All this against the clock, and your score will go on your permanent record. Sound easy? Well, it is! This is the Target Challenge. Hywel, who's up first?
Our first victim, challenger, is Richard Chapman. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Richard, first of all, has to throw one of our aerodynamic simulated balls of ground bait into the target, which he does on his second chuck. This man has got his eye in. Right, now time for the long pole. All he's got to do is gently take that cup out to the end and just flop it in. It should be dead easy. Nice and steady. Oh, off the back of the roller and up it goes. Schoolboy error. Every fisherman knows that uses a pole. When it comes off the roller, lift it up slightly. Get your technique down. Now these ground bait balls, if you try throwing them in and you miss all of them, you have to run up the other end and go and pick them up and then come back and try it again. But he's out on his second go. Surely he's got it on the second go. He's taking the long pole down nice and steady. Oh, same thing. Right, that's twice. You would have thought he's going to learn from his mistakes here, and Hywel is finding it incredibly amusing. Hywel has already had a go at doing this and has set a particularly good time, and Richard is trying his best to see if he can beat that. I think Hywel would have already finished by now, but let's keep him going. Okay, this time we're taking it out to the end of the pole, off the end. Surely he can't do it again. Off the back of the rollers. Oh, he's done it again. Oh no, this must be heartbreaking. Just imagine if you were fishing, all those fish now are going to be way, way, way off target where you wanted to feed them. And they're going to be sniffing around the parts where you may as well start fishing there, I guess. Right, well it seems to me that these carp anglers aren't very good at using a pole. We're going to try one more time. You can get it in there. Come on, Rich. He's taking his time this time. Look at the concentration on that face. He's taking it off the back of the way. He hasn't spun up. Oh! He's got it in! Technically, we shouldn't have given him that because he touched the target with a cup, but we'll let him have it, beans he's the first one. Right, okay, now he's got to firing this plug, this distance casting plug into the bottom of the target, and he hits it first time. Reel it back in, my boy. Don't leave it out there, that's cheating. Right, get onto that fluff. Oh, don't fall over. Onto the fluff chucking, pull in some line. Now the wind was blowing in his face just a little bit earlier, and now he's got to try and fight that. He's got to keep the end of the rod down a little bit so he can lay it in. Oh, he's got a little bit too much line out. Last one coming in. Pull some of that line back in, and he's got to get it in. Come on, it should be fairly easy.
Yes. Stop.
And he's in. Stop the clock. Good man.
We shall see.
So there we have it. Richard Chapman comes in the top and the bottom of the leaderboard with 2 minutes and 39 seconds. What a time to beat.
The benchmark has been set, top of the leaderboard. Now it's time to go to ROV TV.
As anglers, we can only guess what fish get up to under the ripples. You could strap a tank to your back or a snorkel to your face and go and join them to find out what they're doing. Or you could send in something that resembles Johnny Five's swimming cousin. ROV TV has only begun to delve into the underwater realm, and we have already uncovered some remarkable sights, and it is mostly thanks to one man and his not-so-yellow submarine. So who is the man behind the swimming cam, and why did he buy this expensive executive toy?
It opens up a whole new kind of dimension to it, where there's so many times you're seeing fish under the water that they're kind of looking at your hook bait, not even feeding around it, and you have no idea that it's happening. You can be looking out on the lake, you can think there's no fish out there. The amount of times you're finding features and stuff you never knew were there, like we've found like old BMXs and stuff like that that are just kind of dumped on the bottom of the lake, which without that you just wouldn't have known they were there. couple of weeks ago, went out with the ROV, really looking at how carp were feeding over bait. So we put a couple of 3 kilo boilies out just to see how they reacted. So let's watch this and see what they did. So, finally looks like spring has arrived. We've got temperatures in the daytime of mid-double figures, and it's really starting to feel like spring. Even though the water's still fairly cold, the fish are starting to move around and making the most of the sunshine. We've already managed to find the odd fish lying up in the snags. They're a little bit more active than they have been previously, so hopefully they'll be up for a bit of food, and that's exactly what we're going to give them. We've got a fair bit of boilie with us. We're going to find a couple of the likely looking spots and get some bait out there. So let's have a look how it looks on the ROV.
So here is an area near some snags which is holding a number of fish. So in an attempt to get them to feed, I bait up with 3 kilo of boilies. It's amazing to hear just how loud the boilies are when entering the water. Even with the camera down in 10 foot of water, you can't fail to hear them. Obviously on higher stock commercial fisheries, this would be like ringing the dinner bell and likely attract fish to the area. But on a pressure venue it could really put them on edge, so maybe using a baiting spoon could really help to reduce the disturbance. The next morning we return to find that the bait is untouched. 30 quid of the highest quality carp food available, and they just turn their noses up. Proving that you can't force them into feeding, especially so early in the season, as they're still yet to really wake up from the colder winter temperatures. But we are here to catch fish, and as this expensive palmer bait isn't working, it's time to move on to plan B. A number of fish are holding up in the back of some snags, clearly comfortable and feeling safe. These areas are like homes, and although they do spend an awful lot of their time here, it's not always the best areas to catch them in. After all, you won't go and eat your Sunday lunch in your bedroom. We're trying to tempt them out with bait, but they don't seem interested in feeding, so let's leave them in peace and bait a few more likely looking areas. So we finally found a few fish that are willing to feed. They're literally right in the edge over there, probably a rod length out from the bank. I've got the ROV down there, I've got the rig out there, and there's fish mooching around the area. There's the odd one kind of picking up the bait, but I think obviously caused a bit of disturbance getting in there, so I'll leave it out there for an hour or two, see if we can actually get one to take the bait live on camera. Although the carp are being attracted to the area by the pellets, they seem wary of feeding, spending short periods of time over the bait before retreating back to the snags. It just goes to show that getting your bait into the right area is far more important than the quantity being used. Look at the mouth on this carp. We've christened him Gobby, with the sort of deformity on his mouth meaning he's unable to properly close it. Although other than that he seems more than healthy. As you can see here, the rig is lying perfectly. The PVA bag has melted, leaving a tempting parcel of food with the hook bait right next to it. The leader's sunk down out the way of the fish. Surely the rig couldn't be spooking them. Maybe it's something to do with a big ROV staring back at them. You can make out to the right of the shot a small common munching away, completely oblivious to us watching. They're tucked just under the overhang of the snags and their confidence is slowly increasing. This is a known area that's fished regularly and they're probably aware of that. A larger common has moved into the area and is picking up the odd bait. You can make out the same small common feeding under the branches once more. The fact that the only 2 fish feeding here are commons really gets you thinking. It can't just be coincidence. Wasting money baiting up large areas hoping to bring the fish out their hiding places may not always be the answer. But fishing in a situation like this is always going to be a balancing act. The closer you fish to snags, the greater the chances of getting a take, but you also dramatically increase the chance of losing a fish. So remember kids, never take sweets from strangers and never fish too close to snags. Safety first.
So it looks like time's beaten us on this one. We managed to find a few feeding fish in the end, but as soon as we put the ROV in, they just got like a little bit spooky. So maybe it's something to think about in the future, whether we can camouflage it up a little bit, just hide it out of the way in some way, shape or form. Definitely something to think about. But the rig's still out there, fish seem to have pushed out in the area, but we'll give it a few more minutes just in case they do turn up again. But by the looks of it, that's going to be the end of it.
Charlie Jacoby here. This is my weekly roundup of the best fishing on YouTube. It's chub, chub and more chub. Snagged on Fish offers Riversode 6 local stream chub fishing, a short but successful session. Tommy from Nash Tackle is fishing in Berkshire as well as going behind the scenes to look at the Nash Groundhog, Brolly and Ballmaker. If you need to ask, you need to watch this. Let's go down under to get off the products. Aussie style fly fishing has Jace proving you don't always need fancy lures to get the job done. Sometimes all it takes is a bit of old towel and some grass to catch a decent queenie, a kind of trevally. Staying in the Pacific and Awestruck is a boat that takes fishing charters out of Kona, Hawaii. In this film, a guest catches a marlin. Back to Europe and sea trout fishing in Norway is in German, but the Norwegian guide explains all the tackle in English and the rest of the action, well, you can pick it up. Now we are in Thailand fishing after snakeheads in the south of the country in the Chiao Lan Reservoir. Visitors to Bangkok take note, the fly fishing is fabulous as well as the lure fishing shown here. The film is in Thai, but it's worth watching for the presenter, who is excellent. There are lots of fishers who vlog. Here's a vlogger who fishes. If you want to know how to reach people, I mean lots of people on YouTube, this is it. Nikki and John vlog is fishing with Uncle Roger and saying, "What's going on guys?" a lot. And finally, Shark Bite GoPro is a jolly compilation of sharks chewing a GoPro camera. It's the kind of film that could look good projected onto a nightclub wall. Click on the links to watch the videos or you will find them in this film's description. If you would like to send in a video for Hooked on YouTube, ping me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv.
Well folks, that's it for another week. I hope you've enjoyed the programme. If you have, tell all your friends and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to keep up to date with all the other programmes on the channel, go to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, and fill out that constant contact form. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, which has just reached over 1,000 likes. Thank you everyone that liked the page. And follow us on Twitter. I'll see you next week on Fishing Britain.